Hello. So I've just put a video up about dragons. Uploaded a video about dragons is what I did. Trying out this OBS studio. But I think it's a really interesting subject to talk about, dragons, since I really have never looked into it that much at all. I haven't, you all. And so really, are dragons just a myth? Some people feel that they're not just a myth. That's what some people feel. And I think they do exist. They do exist in these higher realms, these higher dimensions. And we're going to look at a few of them. We're going to look only a tad bit tonight. I don't want to be on here too long, but I do want to look into that just a tad bit, you all. Let me come over here and look at these the comment sections over here. That's okay, because we got it. We got some people watching. Whoopsie, Gina, honey. Yes, we do, you all. We've got people watching. I got to get over here and look. Hello there, Apple Brooks. So if I can just set this phone right here, you all, we can go and we can look. I think I've got them. I'm on my other computer right now, but I do want to come over here to the screen. Dragons. Okay, we just got all these dragons right here. Can you all hear me just fine? I hope you can. So we see this dragon right here, but I want to show you all the different images of dragon, and you really have to ask yourself, where did they get all these different types? How did they know how to draw all these different types of dragons? How did they? I think it's really interesting. I really do. Because there are, I guess, in myths, which really aren't myths, there's lots of things about dragons. Okay, there is. Oh, I think there was some place. There was some place. I really think there was some place in some place. Where was it at? In Europe or something? They had legends. They had stories about dragons, and there was only like one dragon remaining, one dragon, and they tried to kill it off. I want to think it's, is it like Celtic history or something like that, you all? Is it something like that about the dragons? You saw a dragon, and yeah, the dragon that I filmed, it's on the YouTube channel, coming up from the ground. I think that was in Taipei, Taiwan. Yeah, in Taiwan, you all. That's what I think. But I think they are real. They are. Look at this. So I want to come to this page right here, you all. I really do. 10, it says 10 mythical dragon entities from different cultures that you should know about. But are they really mythical? Are they mythical, or is there a whole lot of truth about them? Okay, I think there's a whole lot of truth in here. If we could just open our minds, okay, to the possibility that, this world may not be all that we think it is. Okay, I think we really could. Yeah, so let's look at this. So I'd like to try to get this thing off of here if I can. I don't know what this thing is, you all. So they have, among all legendary creatures, the dragon, derived from Greeks, drakon, have taken their unique place among the pedestals of mythological accounts, as well as present-day popular cultures. Present-day popular cultures, you all. I can't get that out of there, you all. I really can't get that out of there. I don't know why, but it doesn't want to go out of there. So this is March of 2018. So, so they have been symbolic features of a myriad of regions across the world. And of course, many of these mythical traditions have developed and evolved distinctly without much influence from one another. And yet these monsters, they call them monsters, have commonly played the major parts as gods, demons, even personifications of nationalism. So without further ado, let us take a gander at 10 mythical dragon entities from cultures across the planet that you might not have known about. Okay, that you might not have known about. I want to see something like this, you all. I really do. Let me try to get this thing off of there. I think I got it off of there, you all. I did. Oh, so I haven't really heard about this one. So we're going to come over here, you all. Let's do this right here. Eka. I can't say that right. From Egypt. This is a dragon right here, known as Ekhuku, is characterized by a fantastical beast with a long serpentine body with 4 legs, and it's said to reside in the remote corners of Egyptian lands. In the remote corners of Egyptian lands is where it's said to reside. So that's really interesting. It's inspired the legends of griffins in Europe. So this one right here is around the fringe desert areas beside the fertile Nile Valley. That's really interesting. In which this creature right here maintains its serpentine profile in Egypt with an ancient Egyptian headgear, albeit with an antelope's body and a bird's head. Well, this one looks like it has its complete body right here. Hello. You all can barely hear me. Can you all barely hear me? Because I don't know what's going on with this thing right here, you all. Let me try to get this here. I'm going to try to turn this up full blast, because I sure hope that this thing did not go out on me. Yeah, that's better. Okay, I hope that you couldn't barely just hear me the whole entire time, because then that would be really, really bad. So we have this other one, the dragon Koli Kikos from, Georgia. So look at this one. So this looks like it's got bird feathers. Jason and the Argonauts. The Argonauts was an adventure game. So it's the Golden Fleece was located in the areas of the Cookies, the present-day central Georgia, described as having a crest with 3 tongues and a magical set of teeth. And there are different versions as to how the mythical dragon met its untimely death. With the scenario of the hero slaying the dragon, and some alluded to a situation that the witch Medea put the dragon to sleep with her magic. And there is also a third version that where the great singer Orpheus lures the dragon with an enchanting musical rendition on his lyre. Oh, wow. You can hear me. It's too loud. I don't know if this OBS switched on me or what. So we got this Druk from Bhutan. Thunder Dragon. Looks like it. The Chinese. It's the national personification of the Bhutanese culture and in mythology and monarchy. To that end, a deliberately is scaled drake is prominently featured in Bhutan's national flag and national anthem. While the Himalayan nestled nation itself is called Druk Yul, translate Land of the Druk. The mythical dragon expired. The scope also extends to the personal titles with the leaders. The Thunder Dragon Kings. Oh, that's really interesting. The Thunder Dragon Kings. Then there's Fafnir from Scandinavia. Oh, look at that. Yeah. So probably the most famous of all dragons on this list is Fafnir. Oddly enough, started out his life as a mere dwarf. He was the son of the dwarf king Hreidmar, and was responsible for killing his own father to get a hold of all the wealth and treasure that was originally stolen from Asir's gods. However, after he had taken the valuables out of the sheer greed, he was cursed by an Vari's ring and gold among the loot, and it was a trick played on Loki. This transformed him into a mighty mythical dragon with armored scales that could not be penetrated by ordinary weapons. Smog. Oh, Smog. So that's in The Lord of the Rings. Finally, it was Sigurd who slew him with his broken sword, Graham, by finding a weak point along the soft underbelly of the gigantic beast. That's interesting because that's how it's like they found a weak point in that Lord of the Rings. That's really interesting, you all. They got it from this right here. Wonder if there really is truth to it. I really do wonder. Kukaloon? Kukan from Mesoamerica. Oh, wow. That's very colorful. Looks kind of robotic, kind of, but maybe it's not. Let's see this, you all. Quetzalcoatl was worshipped as the great feathered serpent god in the pantheon of the Aztecs, the Toltecs, and the Mayans. The major deity, often taking the form of a mythical dragon-like entity, seems to have played a multifaceted role while practicing his godly business. To that end, Kukulkan was the god of creation, the sire of both the morning and the evening star, the protector of the craftsman, the rainmaker, the wind blower, and also the fire bringer. The fire bringer. Wow. Interesting. Both the Mayans and the Aztecs were not too keen on solar eclipses, given the sacredness of the sun. As such, their mythic traditions used to depict such rare scenarios, with the earth serpent swallowing the great Quetzalcoatl, and furthermore, as opposed to their cultural penchant for human sacrifices, Kukulkan was supposedly not fond of such bloodthirsty practices. So I guess they made it out to be something more than what he was, you think? Yeah, Kerr from Sumeria. Oh, wow. There's got a human body up there. Looks like it's got some shoulders, you all. It really does. The primordial Kerr is often considered as the first dragon within the web of vast literary traditions from Sumeria. He is described as residing in the void above Earth's layer and below the primal sea. The monstrous entity is also often related to the Sumerian concept of the underworld, and such among its numerous wicked exploits, the dragon once kidnapped the goddess Ereshkigal by taking her into his netherworld realm. The rescuing task fell to a hero called Enki. Oh, I didn't hear this before. And he successfully slew the mythical dragon, right there, a narrative which serves as a prologue to the renowned epic of Gilgamesh. Interesting, the act of slaying dragon is a common motif repeated in later Babylonian traditions, which might have also found its parallels or expansion in tales in other parts of the world, you all. I think that's really interesting. I hadn't heard that before. I haven't. That's really interesting right there. If you're just tuning in, I'm just going to read a few of these about dragons. The python from Greece, that looks really massive. It's got really massive. He shot his arrow through him, you all. He did. Oh, wow. So Python is depicted as the earth dragon that came. Let me do this right here, you all. The earth dragon that came from a slime in Delphi, while other sources claim the entity to be a female offspring of Gaia, the earth goddess. She was described as being so humongous that her gargantuan coils stretched around the entire site of the Delphi Oracle. I've heard of that, the Oracle of Delphi. But I never heard that they thought that she was said to be a female offspring of Gaia. Have you all heard that? The earth goddess. So Her coils stretched around the entire site of the Delphi oracle, thus Albe protecting her mother. She was also counted as one of the pets of Hera, wife of Zeus, that gave her the privilege to cause harm and destruction to the surrounding lands without getting punished. However, the happy romping sessions were finally curtailed by the Olympian deity Apollo, when he slew the mythical dragon with his weapon of choice, the bow and arrow, and the god of light and sun also took over the stronghold of Delphi and grandly refurbished it with his own predilections. So look at that, you all. So he was this python was slew by Apollo. That's really interesting. It really, really is. The Stirwarm from Scotland. That looks like it's in the water. It really does. You know who that looks like right there in the center. It looks like Neptune or something. Somebody in the water. That's right. Let's look here really fast. I wish I could see the comments while I read this, but it's okay. I can go back and look at them. I can. So we have Stirwarm from Scotland. Also known as a master Stirwarm, is an evil monster from Orcadian mythology, myths pertaining to the Orkney Islands north of Scotland, who is portrayed, is portrayed as having the fetid capacity to cause pestilence and contamination among both plants and animals. He was also known to be a glutton and would randomly pick 7 victims from the nearby settlement for his weekly meal. Fortunately, in an interesting turn of events, it was a little boy named Asapatl who killed the mythical dragon by going inside its belly with a boat and burning the creature's liver. I never heard of that. However, the scope of the Stirwarm might go beyond this little tale, as some experts believe that the monster dragon was an Orkney version of the famous Jormungandr from the Norse mythology, the world serpent who is predicted to be killed by the mighty Thor during Ragnarok. Wow. So that's really interesting. Oh, Nadine, that's really interesting. So we have Viritra. And you all, I may not pronounce this right. I probably know I'm not, but I'm trying my best because I've never seen these names before. From India. This is like a red dragon with spikes all over it. Wow. From India. So let's see this, you all. Mentioned in ancient Aryan Vedic texts as the main adversary of the Indra, the king of devas or demigods, Viritra was an asura, a spirit that seeks power and dominance, who was represented as a mythical dragon-like entity, also known by his Vedic name of Ahi, which translate to snake. Viritra personified the droughts that imprisoned numerous rivers and water bodies. On the other hand, Indra was the god of thunderstorms and rain, and hence their enmity is well justified within the literary scope, and to that end, in an epic battle, Indra successfully destroyed 99 fortresses of the beast, and finally slew the dragon himself by breaking his jaw in two, with his imbued power being generated from an enchanted drink called soma. This heroic feat finally led to the freedom of the flowing rivers. Wow, that's interesting too, you all. It really is. It's really interesting. The honorable mention is a Brasic. Hey, is that like a Anunnaki? I don't know, but it has like a bird-like head and has some wings and stuff. Yeah, that's honorable mention, a Brasic. Oh, wow, that's really well-known term in Gnostic traditions, where the entity is considered a great archon or god. I've heard about the archons, the archonic energies. This makes etymological sense, since Abrasax in Greek translates to supreme being. Oh, wow, supreme being? With the 7 letters denoting the 7 primary planets. It's like we got 7 continents. Even the Greek letters of the word add up to 365. That's 365 days a year, which pertains to the number of days in a year, yeah. However, beyond Gnostic traditions, the Abrax might very well have been its origin in Persian myths. According to numerous sources, the entity was often perceived as a demon as opposed to a god, and it was described physically as a hybrid between a mythical dragon and serpent with a rooster's head. Also, in an interesting note, it has been suggested that the whimsical word abracadabra is derived from Abrasax. Wow, never heard of that. An honorable mention. Yes, hello, and thank you for joining. That's really interesting, you all. I've really not heard of this before. Of course, I haven't. That's it. Is that it, you all? Featured Ashes of Creation. Wow, so that's really interesting. So they have all of these dragons right here. Python, Cur, Quetzalcoatl, Fafnir, Druk, or Druk, Drakon, Koli, Kikos, and Akhig. I can't pronounce it, you all. That's really interesting. All of these dragons. There's dragons galore. There really is dragons galore. So, yeah. And you know, I'm sure there's channels on YouTube that specifically talk about dragons. There really is. They specifically talk about these massive dragons on their channels. J.R. Tolkien gave the world his dragon, you all. So that's really interesting. I really do think that they are real. And yet they're, you know, I don't know if this was real. I don't know if somebody made this up or what right here. I really don't know. But anything's possible in this world that we live in. Anything is possible, because even the impossible oftentimes turns out to be, yeah, that's real. That's real. All of it, you all. So that looks like kind of like Smog. That's the Game of Thrones. Who's able to ride a dragon in the Game of Thrones? Why would the New York Times write about this Game of Thrones? And you know, they saw the Queen of England sitting on a throne, I guess, that was supposed to be in the Game of Thrones. All of that. Yeah, that's interesting. And that's really the first time I've really ever looked into dragons right there. So yeah, that's great. For those of you who do study it, I know you've got a whole lot of information about it. A whole lot. And that's great. So I want to thank you all for coming on here. And with that being said, hello, wherever you are in any part of the world. Hello, from my heart to yours. Love you. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. And thank you, moderators. And thank you all for your comments. Because we can document. Even with videos like this, you can document in the comments section and stuff. And it's part of the puzzles. It's pieces of the puzzles, you all. It is in this world that we live in. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. And thank you once again. Love you.